it's been. So Bitcoin is at 11.7. It looks like it's probably going to crest over 12,000 at the rate it's going. Even Ethereum seems to be bouncing back a bit. And that's just as the Litecoin halving just hit. So what do you think about the price of Bitcoin, Dave?
I I just love it. I think it's great. I'm just hoping for a new all-time high here, but patiently waiting.
Well, I think it's probably going to happen at this rate because of all the crazy stuff that's going on in the world today. So, but we want to hear what you have to say. So, if you want to join us, just join the show. Comment on Facebook or comment on YouTube, and you can reach out to us that way. Or if you want to go old school and call in, what are our digits, Dave?
Yeah, go old school and give us a call at 808-825-6255.
So, well, top of the list. This news also just hit. The CFTC chairman believes that blockchain technology is awesome. So, what do you think about that, Dave? That the what is it, Commodity Futures Trading Commission says Bitcoin is and blockchain is cool. What do you think?
Well, I think that's great. I kind of have a Max Kaiser attitude towards all that, which is, I really don't care what they say. Bitcoin doesn't care what they say. Bitcoin's going to do its thing, and it's just going to keep marching along regardless of what anybody says.
Right, right. Well, speaking of what countries have to say, I remember Donald Trump was famous for saying that the only people that would use blockchain and Bitcoin are terrorists. But meanwhile, the Iranian government, who we all hold to be quite the terrorists, I mean, they're capturing whole tankers of ships, in the Persian Gulf there, they are banning crypto. They're saying crypto is illegal for buying and selling in the country. And if you're a miner, you have to have a ton of licensing to mine. What do you think, Dave?
Well, it reminds me of China. We banned Bitcoin. We approve Bitcoin. We banned Bitcoin. We approve Bitcoin. They did that about a dozen times. We'll see how many times Iran does it.
Yeah,
But, but
I think you're right.
what's really interesting is, they say they're going to be leveraging Bitcoin heavily in some of the previous articles in the past few months to avoid the U.S. tariffs. It's going to be their go-to currency. It's going to be their great savior. So why they're banning it, it doesn't make sense to me. But and it also just tells me how ignorant they are, because anybody who says they're going to ban it, you can't ban Bitcoin. I'm sorry, it's not bannable. So you can try to ban it. It's like what's that? What did they call that time frame when they tried to do away with whiskey back in the 20s or 30s?
Oh
Uh,
yeah. Well, the whole alcohol thing, and that didn't work too well. And
yeah, it's going to go underground. It's going to go somewhere. People are going to use it. So these countries come out, and number, and it also tells me they don't understand the technology. You know,
quite right,
if you say you're going to ban something that you can't ban, you don't get it.
quite right.
But all these countries want to hold on to their control and regain their control, while Bitcoin is trying to lower these barriers and these walls and make us all one world. Everybody wants to have their tribal instinct mentality and control their little section instead of just letting us all be a free world.
Yep, I reckon you're right. Meanwhile, more Americans than ever before are getting into Bitcoin, and so as a result, companies are already positioning themselves to take advantage of that. One company, Bitcoin.com, Roger Ver basically quit. He stepped down. He's out of Bitcoin.com, and he was the guy that was all behind the Bitcoin Cash and all that craziness the last time we had an all-time high. And so it appears that Bitcoin.com is now going to set up their own exchange, have about 50 different trading pairs. And so, Bitcoin.com is actually one of the number one websites that people go to when they're finding out about Bitcoin. And here they're going to be well positioned to take advantage of people that want to buy and sell Bitcoin. It's really interesting.
It makes me just wonder what what's going on there. He has fought this tooth and nail through the whole process and has really tarnished his entire reputation, considering that he was considered the Bitcoin Jesus back in the day. And it just makes me wonder, why he's folded his tent and headed home. It makes me think he's got something up his sleeve, but I don't know.
Yeah, it should be very, very interesting what will happen as a result of this. So, meanwhile, in Texas, there's a company called AWS Mining that had gotten a lot of investment from people to do Bitcoin mining and stuff like that. And Texas Securities Commissioner has ordered AWS Mining to return all the investment dollars. So AWS Mining was guaranteeing returns of 200%, and obviously that didn't happen. So that kind of makes me wonder if there's going to be more companies that are going to be facing regulation like this. Basically, we'll hopefully get rid of scammers so that the legitimate companies, the people that are really trying to do things, will be able to go forward. And so I think that the confidence in Bitcoin has been increasing, especially as the confidence in dollars has been decreasing. As we know, Donald Trump has increased tariffs on China. And actually, the way this works is it's actually a tax on Americans. So even though the tariff is on China goods, China doesn't pay that. The Americans do. So the American companies that are buying from China have to pay the tariffs on that after the goods land in America. And so the companies that are buying these goods, of course, they're not going to pay. They're going to pass the cost on to consumers. So this translates into higher prices for goods and services at places like Walmart, which means that the dollar is actually devalued. You can't buy as much as you used to be able to. As a result, more Americans are buying Bitcoin. 365 million in Bitcoin in Q1. And most of that, a lot of that actually is in the Square Cash App, which is why Square in their second quarter earnings has announced that they have a lot of revenue from Bitcoin. So, what do you think about all that, Dave?
Well, I think Jack Dorsey's got a great company, the CEO of Square, and he's done a great job helping promote and with major adoption on Bitcoin. A lot of this is what do you have your faith in? What do people put their faith in? And when they start waking up and figuring out that fiat across the board is so dangerous and is so bad for our society and for our world, they're gonna realize that what's the strongest things I can invest into. And some people go, well, how much Bitcoin should I have, or how much crypto should I own? And some economists or specialist financial advisors say, well, you should have 1 to 3% of your portfolio in cryptocurrency. Well, I can tell you right now, I've got a lot more than that in cryptocurrency, and it's not so much that I'm bullish on crypto or Bitcoin, it's more I'm bearish on fiat and the dollar. So it's all a house of cards, and it's just a matter of time before it starts to fall.
Yeah, I agree. Which is why I think, we got Walmart trying to do what they can in this crazy landscape, and given how Libra, we might as well call a spade, they crash and burn big time, right? So since Libra crashed and burned on a very horrible launch, and now it's going to be a coin based on a basket of coin, right? So now Walmart has filed a patent for like a Walmart stablecoin, which seems to be based on the US dollars. But again, if you buy a Walmart stablecoin based on the dollar and the dollar is devaluing, well, your investment, if you will, is going to go down.
Libra was just so poorly thought through before they made all the commercials and everything that they did to launch that. And this regulatory pressure, they're saying they could kill Libra before it even launched, according to the regulators. So they're basically shooting this before it even gets out of the starting gate.
Yeah, I think you're right. So last but not least, up and coming, we have an interview with the Algorand COO. Now, Algorand is one of those, I know, companies that hardly anybody's ever heard of, but I find it just absolutely fascinating for a variety of reasons, and I think you will too. So Algorand is a blockchain as a service type of company, kind of like Hedera and a few others that are out there. And so I think this represents another opportunity for companies, small and mid-sized companies, to figure out what their blockchain strategy truly is. Because there is a lot that blockchain can do to solve actually very common problems. And we talked about all of that with Algorand COO Sean Ford. So on the team of Algorand is Silvio Micali. The guy is actually a genius. He's been on the faculty of MIT. He's written a lot about crypto encryption. He's like one of the grandfathers of crypto. All right. He's won the Turing Award in computer science, the Gödel Prize in computer science, and the RSA Prize in cryptography. And he's the founder of Algorand, right? Now, on his team, he's got an economist. I mean, how many, even Bitcoin doesn't have an economist on their team. So Algorand has an economist on their team that has a PhD. They also have two different PhDs on their team that have mathematics degrees and cryptography degrees and stuff like that. So they have a very impressive team of people, engineering and getting Algorand out there. So I think this is going to be a company that we're going to hear a lot more about over the upcoming days and years. They've been, in the last 2-3 years, doing a lot of heavy development, getting everything right, and now they're approaching the world to present their solution and to encourage businesses, small and medium-sized companies that are just trying to make it in the world with all these crazy tariffs and Iran banning Bitcoin and all this, to figure out their blockchain strategy and to really go forward in the 21st century marketplace. So here is Sean Ford with Algorand.